Yo, what's up, everybody, and welcome to Underexposed. Today has been a really good day, man.
It has.
How's your day been?
My day's been great, productive.
Cool. So introduce yourself to our listeners and stuff like that.
My name is Edward. I go by Eddie. Some friends and family call me Mikloh. So whatever, it don't matter. You can call me whatever you prefer. But
how did you get to the name of Mikloh?
When I was younger, I used to like to grow my hair out a lot, and then I was raised more around like Hispanics and blacks, and they said I looked like Mikloh from Blood In, Blood Out, and people started calling me that first in like juvenile hall, and then like school, and then some of my cousins and family started hearing it and stuff. Yeah. So
cool. So what do you do for a living, man? What do you?
Right now I'm just in the process of figuring out what I'm gonna do with like my life in general. In the past I've done like HVAC construction. I'm HVAC certified. I've done gutter installations. I could do drywall, like all construction stuff. Work on cars. I really love to work on cars. My dad's like a certified mechanic, so I can do a lot of stuff, just like not too much major, like a motor swap or a tranny swap and stuff.
That's cool. So yeah, I mean, I'm in the construction field too.
Yeah.
It's a lot of stuff to do.
For sure. So much to learn too. You can learn a lot.
Once you think you learned enough, that's when like all of a sudden the new stuff comes out, and it's just like,
brand new process.
Yeah. So you used to rap and all that kind of stuff. You said you put it on pause for a bit.
Yeah. So growing up, I was always like around people that did music and rapped, and I always wrote like poems and raps growing up. And when I was like 14, 15, I started like rapping for a church I used to go to and stuff. And it really pushed me to like try and do it more. And I ended up going to prison for a few years after I had like became an adult, and I wrote a lot of music while I was down. And when I got out, I finally was able to record some of it. So I released a few singles, and then I got like closer to God and started getting my life like back on track with God. So I put that music on pause because it doesn't really glorify God too much. It just is more talking about the lifestyle I came from, what I've been through, where I want to go. But I definitely would rather have a more positive message and then have people, just hear something better, different. So I'm just listening to God right now.
So I feel like we should probably backtrack a little bit more. I kind of want to get a scope of like how you grew up and all that. So tell me your whole story, man. Like just start from the beginning.
So I grew up in a 2-parent household. My mom is like a God-fearing woman. My dad was like he was raised in like a ghetto neighborhood, and he was involved with like the gang lifestyle, jail and prison, and we had like a broken household growing up. My dad was in and out of prison. When I was younger, he was in and out of the household. He did start to change his life when I was like 12, 13. He started becoming like a really better person. Him and my mom like got remarried and started figuring things out. But growing up, we just had a really broken household. It was hard. My dad, he's came really far. People paint him as a really bad guy. He's I feel like he's hurt me and all my brothers and my mom a lot, but in my heart I've learned to forgive him and love him for the man that he is, because he's grown a lot. My mom, she just tried to do it on her own for a while my dad was gone with 6 boys. I got 5 little brothers. I grew up in Rancho Cordova, Rosemont area, part of Sacramento. So I wanted to be more like my dad growing up. I seen this person that I idolize, and I wanted to be just like him. People respected him. He had all these stories, so I went out and I chose to live a street lifestyle, even though my mom was trying to raise me in like the church and stuff. I hated church. I never wanted to be in church. So
I feel like that's something a lot of people don't talk about. I grew up in church too, and I had both my parents. They both did their best, and I still grew up a little damaged. And that's where a lot of people don't like to talk about the fact that, you grew up, you learn, you think that we're supposed to be perfect. We see people at church and they're all dressed up. They're all nice and neat. and we can't relate,
right?
Because we get there, and honestly, what we see at home is not what we see at church, and so you can't relate to that. You can't really be vulnerable with people. You can't trust anybody because you think that they're nothing like you,
right?
When really everyone goes home and the clothes come off, the reality hits everybody. And that's where I feel like people don't talk enough about the fact that church can be not necessarily like toxic, but just like social media, where everyone portrays the best of their week.
Right.
That's all you see, and you don't see the struggles that everyone goes through. And then, yeah, man. So you talk about growing up, you go to church with your mom and all that, and you can't really relate. You know, you can't really see yourself and all that, and you end up in the streets.
Right.
Tell me more about like the life that you lived in the streets and all that, if you're comfortable sharing.
Yeah, I don't mind. So, growing up, my mom was like really church, God, you know, like praying for me every night, reading the Bible. I know a lot of Bible stories, taking us to church. It used to bore me. I used to like feel forced to do it, be in the choir like for Christmas time or being plays. I didn't like it. I resented it. And at like 11, 12 years old, I started getting involved with just the wrong people and the wrong crowd. I had went to juvenile hall for the first time, and then, like I said, the area we grew up in, it was more blacks and Hispanics. There's white people too, like Armenians, Russians, and like regular white people too, but more like blacks and Hispanics, and that's who I was like hanging out with and being around. And since I wanted to live that lifestyle, I went out there and started doing the things that they did, you know. And
did you ever feel like you did the things that they did just because you wanted to fit in?
Not really that I wanted to fit in, but just more that like I wanted to have this image and have this respect and like grow up to, you know, like kind of more like my dad, not to fit in with these people, because I feel like I'm more of a leader, just to just, I don't know, let people know who I am. So and stuff.
You wanted to build a name.
Yeah, a name and an image, I guess, more.
Yeah, that's where I can be different. See, I grew up kind of the same way. Hung out with a lot of gangsters and stuff like that growing up, and it was mainly because I just wanted to fit in. Right. I just wanted to have friends. Now, the reason I grew up this way is because I was all over the place. Like, we moved every year.
Right.
And the lack of stability in my house is what pushed me to search for friends and all that. And I knew that if I wore a certain color, I'd always have friends.
Right, for sure.
And this is where, like, you grew up in one place your whole life, and all you wanted was to build a name for yourself. Did you feel like that was in part an influence because of the, like, your parents and all that? Or
I feel like some of it, I don't want to say my dad is the reason I went and did this, because I'm my own person, I make my own choices, but that did influence me. My family's that still live that street lifestyle, that because he grew up like out in Del Paso Heights in the North Sacramento area in a rough neighborhood, and just the people I grew up around, they tried to move us to a different area because my mom and dad did not want us growing up like them, you know, out in like just bad neighborhoods. And I got involved with the same kind of people and stuff. And I don't know, you know, it's.
Could we talk a little bit about like what got you into juvenile hall?
Yeah, so the first time I went to juvie was like for some petty stuff. So me and my friends, we would go to the malls and steal stuff. We wanted new clothes and shoes, and my mom and dad, they would do their best to try and get us nice stuff. And, I have 5 brothers, and
I mean the struggle.
Yeah, sometimes we couldn't. Sometimes I had the 4-stripe Adidas, you know, from Payless and stuff. So I'm like, you know, I started stealing Nikes stuff, Levi's, if there's True Religion, LRG, DGK, all the cool stuff back then. We're taking pliers and cutting off the metal detectors and throwing like 5 pairs of jeans on, or just running out with handfuls of clothes.
Yeah, so, I remember those days.
So we got busted one time at somewhere at a mall, and then went to juvenile hall. Then the next time was just for an incident that happened in junior high. It was for bringing a knife to school. And then I went to juvenile hall for robbing my junior high as well.
Wow. See, I almost went to juvenile hall. I didn't actually go, but they scared me straight.
Yeah, it's definitely scary.
I mean, yeah. How long were you in?
Just like 2 months max. When I was in juvenile hall for the most time, it scared me straight till I turned 18 and then went to jail. So, but after that, I like just learned to like move smarter. When I got caught, it's because of cameras. So I'm like, oh, be careful what you do. You don't want to be in juvenile hall. It's like it sucked, especially being a minor. Like I had so much freedom, you know.
Yeah, and I mean, even with jail, when you go to jail, it's you kind of forget how much freedom you did have, till all of a sudden you got to sit in front of somebody. Yeah, for me it was I got caught stealing some keys from a teacher. And apparently this teacher had every key to the school, like for everything. So it was a big deal.
He said he hit big.
She thought that it was like a targeted thing.
Oh, like, man.
And the only reason that I didn't go to juvie is because my mom at the time, at the church we were going to, there was a lawyer going to the church.
Oh.
And so she called him immediately, like, I don't speak English and this is going on. And so he called them like, look.
You got blessed. And get him out of there.
The reason I took the keys was because it was April Fool's. And so I took them and I was going to give them back, you know, the next day.
And it turned out all bad.
Dude, it was all bad.
That's crazy.
The mistake I made was I let a friend of mine take the keys.
Oh, yeah. See?
And then he, like, lost them or something. Like, it was just all bad.
That's crazy.
And so, yeah, they let me go. But I think they took him to juvie.
They're like, someone's got to pay.
Right. Yeah, I guess he had the intent of, like, coming back and stealing stuff. And I had no idea. I was in middle school.
Oh, yeah. See, he's like, I didn't lose the keys. I hit him.
Right. Yeah, they were all mad. So, so you grow up, go to church. Your mom's, like, drilling you with all this.
Yeah, for sure.
Religion.
For sure.
Right? And I'm almost certain I can assume that all you heard was, you can't do this, you can't do that. You're going to hell if you do this. You're going to hell if you do that. So you were like indoctrinated in a way, kind of negatively, right?
Yeah, you could say that.
And then at some point, you end up in juvie, and you're just hanging out with the wrong people just because you're trying to build a name for yourself, and you're trying to do it through your own terms.
Right. How
you want. You're breaking the rules.
Right.
Right. So let's move forward with, now you're in jail, right? So how did you end up getting in jail? You said there was cameras or something like that.
Oh, no. So juvenile hall, there was cameras. So Are you talking about jail when I was 18 or when I was a minor?
Yeah, when you were 18.
So when I was 18, the first time I went to jail was for actually a stolen car that I had bought off someone on Craigslist. So this was actually a legitimate deal. I had the paperwork.
Yeah.
I got arrested with an ex of mine and her mom, and some rangers pulled up on me. I was just at the river chilling, you know, rolling up a blunt. I remember it because they pulled out guns on me and everything. I'm like, what the heck? I'm like, what is going on? They're like, this is a stolen vehicle. I'm like, no way. I'm like, I got all the paperwork. Boom, boom, boom. Showed it. They still arrested me, took me to jail for like a week. I got bailed out. The case eventually got dismissed because I had the proof and stuff, and the judge was like, this is crazy, you know. But the dude I bought it off ended up actually stealing it off some old lady. So,
oh, wow.
But that got dismissed, and then I ended up going to jail again a few months later for like a gun charge and a burglary and stuff. So,
I didn't know they could pull guns on you.
Yeah.
Were you armed?
I wasn't armed. No, not at all. And it was some rangers, literally.
So we just got excited then.
Right. And they drove past me, and I literally see them in the rearview mirror because I'm always checking. And then they come back slow, and then I'm like, they're back. They're probably going to try and tell us we can't smoke or something, because back then it was super illegal. Yeah. And they both jump out, pull guns, have both their doors like as shields. They're like, get out of the vehicle, get out. I'm like, whoa. Like, I start freaking out. I get hecka scared. You know, my ex's mom is crying in the back seat. I'm like, oh my gosh. Crazy.
That's all bad, man. That's terrible.
Yeah.
I recently, my dad got scammed too. There's all kinds of people making all kinds of scams.
That happened to my dad too.
He got scammed because they're looking for an apartment somewhere to rent at this time, and I guess they found a place on Facebook, and the dude hit him up, and he was like, hey, yeah, so there's an application fee. I'm gonna need you guys to fill it out. Once you submit it, you're gonna have to pay about $100 per adult, and just something like that. So my dad was like, all right, well, let's do it. They paid. He put in all his social. He put in all his information.
Dang.
And all of a sudden, my dad's getting charged like all kinds of like $200, $300, $400, $500 charges, and he's like, "Whoa, what's going on?" That
sucks.
Yeah. And so they're trying to find a place to live, and all the money they were saving up to like pay for the down payment and all that kind of stuff.
That's hard.
Yeah, man, it's crazy.
It's hard.
It kind of makes you think, like, what do I do?
There's a lot of scammers. It's bad. Like, my dad got scammed too, just like on some other type of stuff, though. Just like telling him, oh, you got a bail, like, because my dad was fighting a case or something, but they're like, you're out on a bail. We're going to take you back to jail if you don't pay this bail. And they scammed him out of some money, like, sent real documents or like fake documents that look super legit.
Yeah.
Fact stuff, just like probably how they did your parents, made it look all legitimate.
Yeah, so they had a whole LLC.
See,
like, so my dad he filed a report, and they were like, yeah, this ain't real. This ain't like, did you go see the house? And my dad was like, nah. They told us they couldn't go, so they had us look at it from the outside.
Golly.
And so yeah, it's a common scam, I guess, that's going on.
Yeah,
it's all bad.
Definitely. When we were looking for a spot, I definitely seen a lot of scams and fake ads for sure.
Yeah,
especially on Craigslist.
Yeah. So back onto your life. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
Yeah, it's all good.
I always kind of do this where it's like we'll start like gearing away, and yeah. So you're in jail. How long were you in for? You said about a week or so.
Yeah, like a week, 2 weeks. Well, see, the thing is, I could have got OR'd. It's called released on your own recognizance.
Yeah.
And I could have really got out, but when they come ask me where you're living, all your information, where you're working, I lied, because going in and out of like to juvie and jail, I'm like, don't ever talk to the police, people working for the police at the jail. So I'm lying about everything. Like, yeah, I got a job. This is where I live. Whoopty whoop. They went, checked it out. They're like, you're not getting OR'd because you lied about everything. So now you're sitting in here waiting for an arraignment, fighting your case in jail. So
you said that was the first time you got arrested when you were 18.
18 years old.
And the next time you got arrested, it was for
a gun and a burglary charge.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
See, this is funny because I understand too.
Yeah.
How long did that process take?
That took a minute, a few months. I ended up taking a deal and a strike. So this was like my next major charge. I had got arrested like 2 or 3 times in between the car and this, just for like running from the police, doing like cat and out at Safeway, stealing liquor, and then like trying to fight the police and stuff. Yeah. But for this one, I got arrested and did some time. I was down for like 6 or 7 months. They're like, you're gonna take a 2 years county time, which is a year because you do half time, and a strike. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Strike and county time, I'm about to be out. And so I signed up for work project or house arrest, and I went and did house arrest at my mom's. And when I got off, I was all cool. I had a strike and stuff, and then yeah, it's crazy.
So let's talk about your like thought process, your mindset. Obviously, a lot has changed, and you're more mature now, and,
right,
and you think things through, and you gave your life to Jesus. You're making a name for yourself in a different way now. Where was your mind at during all this, like, life of crime?
When I was my senior year. Well, let's take it back to my junior year. So my junior year, the beginning of it, I had like 10 credits, the credits of a freshman.
Right.
And I'm about to be a junior, and my mom's like, you got to go to this continuation school. I got kicked out of a lot of districts in high school, went high school to high school.
Yeah.
So I went to this school in Southside called Gerber, and they help you catch up and give you extra credits if you do extra work. So right. I got so caught up that by the time my senior year came, my mom was like, wow, you're doing so good. I'm going to throw you in like a really, what people would call like a all-white school, or like a more preppy school.
Yeah.
She made me go to a school called Rio Americano my senior year. She's like, if you graduate and you walk the stage and you get your diploma, not a GED, I'll give you $500 and your aunt will match me, so you get 1,000. So it pushed me to do it even more.
Yeah.
So I'm my senior year, I got 4 classes, and I'm like, I can chill this whole year, just don't do nothing bad, you know, hang out with my friends, drink and party, and do my 4 classes for this year and graduate. And that's what I did. So, but that mind process, like you said, right after I graduated, I started really getting involved with a lot of stuff that I shouldn't have. And I had moved out of my parents because I was dating a girl at the time that my mom didn't approve of, and I was still a minor. I had just turned 17.
Yeah.
And she freaked out on me one time because I had her over at the house and stuff. And I have started saving up money so I can emancipate myself and get a spot. I was working for a moving company with my dad.
Yeah.
And I ran away because she took my mom took everything I had, my phone, PS4, anything I could communicate with, my money I saved up. So I ran out the front door. I was trying to run out barefoot with nothing in my hands. And she was like guarding the door, and I like slammed it open. It kind of like pushed her out the way. And I just started running away, and I ran to a neighbor's house, and I called a friend. He picked me up, and I moved in with him. That was when I was like 17. And I've been on my own ever like since then. Besides, like, you know, doing house arrest, like, here and there.
The reason I like to ask, like, where your mindset was at, I don't know. For me, I had a lot of pent-up anger.
Yeah, for sure.
And confusion. You know, like, I had no idea, personally. Like, I was confused about, like, what am I even going to do with my life? I didn't know what I wanted. You know, I didn't get my stuff together until I moved here at SAC.
Right.
I moved out of Mexico, came to live with my brother, and, you know, my high school credits were terrible too. Like, I had the credits, I was a senior and I had the credits of a freshman.
Yeah, see.
And so my brother was like, look, you're going to go to this charter school. It's called Options for Youth.
Oh, went there too.
Yeah. And so he was like, you're just going to focus on getting everything done. And my brother was tough on me. And so at the time I was like, okay, I'm trying to get my stuff together. And, but I had a lot of confusion just growing up in general. Just the lack of stability is what kind of made me want to, like, I felt like I needed friends.
Right.
And no one ever told me, like, dude, you don't need nobody.
Right,
like,
right.
I never actually heard that specifically because I never actually told anybody that I was lonely or anything like that. But in your case, did you have like a lot of anger? Did you have a lot of frustration? Did you have?
I had a lot of anger and resentment, I guess. Mm-hmm. A lot of unforgiveness. My heart, I just like let it get real cold and black. I started having this mindset where I don't care. I started taking drugs like my senior year. I started taking Xanax bars with these kids I knew, and when I went to jail for the first time, some dude was like telling me, because I was tripping out, I was stressed out, like acting like a stress case, you know, like I need to get out of here, this is crazy. And he's like, look, if you're gonna live this life of crime, get ready for this jail cell. He's like, because this is what comes with it. He's like, jail comes with it, death, getting shot at. He's like, this is what comes with the lifestyle. So if you really want to live this life and be in these streets, this is what's gonna come with it. So that I got it put in my head. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get comfortable. So I'm like, next time I go to jail, it's whatever. It's part of the streets. It's part of this life. So I started learning to get comfortable and just do my time and just have a mindset of, I don't care that I'm going to jail. I don't care what's going on. I don't care who I hurt, what I'm doing.
So you created a mindset of complacency with your environment, which was, you know, the streets, the ghetto, the crime, the jail cell, all that kind of stuff. What made you change your mind?
I don't know. I think being in prison, because like I told you, I had that mindset of not caring. But when I had really lived in the streets, all I had the mindset of was like surviving too, because there was times where I was down so bad. I was homeless. I was living at my friends' houses, parks and laundromats, wherever. I was sleeping in my homie's car sometimes. It was bad. And I would keep up with myself though, like with hygiene. I'd get free gym memberships. I shower every day, bird bath at a Starbucks or something, but I'll make it happen and I'll hustle and survive. And what changed my mindset was when I went to prison. So that's when I caught my second case, my second major case, which is where I took my second strike. But my mindset really changed when I was in prison.
So what was the second strike on?
So the second strike was for a robbery, an armed robbery. It was a bunch of charges. I had like 7 charges at first. Me and some of my homies were gonna rob my homie's uncle. He was gonna go get a loan out the bank, and my homie knew about it, so we were gonna go rob him for the loan. But in the meantime, we started robbing prostitutes and hookers on Stockton and Fruit Ridge and stuff. So yeah. I'm driving a car that I have. It's like a SUV, and then my homies are in the back seat, and we have a female with us too, and they're just like whipping out the gun, you know, like give us everything you got, you know, like robbing hookers and stuff. And then when we finally go to the bank where we're supposed to get the dude, I end up jumping out the car with them. I wasn't supposed to, but I jumped out the car with one of the younger homies, and he had the gun, and I grabbed his uncle, you know, and like tried to throw him around and grab the money, and then a police car rolled up right behind me, right on me while I'm on top of the dude. And me and my old homie, he's not my friend no more, we ran through an alleyway. I took off my hoodie, he took off his, and we threw it in some dumpsters, and we waited for like 4 or 5 hours. We still ended up getting caught, but that's how I ended up going to prison.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, man, that's a crazy life. You know, I'm not judgmental about it because I get it. You know, I get the mindset. I had a lot of people I knew doing the same thing.
Right.
I didn't get involved because I was a scaredy cat. You know, I didn't want to do all the stuff that I saw them doing, but I respected it because it was like you're risking yourself all the time.
Right.
And no matter where you go, you're always watching your back.
For sure.
And you're matching a description wherever you go. So you're like targeted all
Definitely.
the time. You know, and you're walking down the street and cops are just like, that's him.
For sure. Most definitely.
Just because they see you fit a persona and a description, you may be dressed the way that you feel comfortable.
Yeah.
And they know this. You know, they know how to target people real well.
For
so
sure.
How has this changed your life now? Like, do you still get in trouble with police? Like, just walking, you're not doing nothing?
So since I've been out of prison, I've been pulled over quite a few times. I've got a few red light tickets. One of the first times I got pulled over, I was like probably 2 or 3 months out, maybe 6 months max. I was with Samantha. We got pulled over like 2 a.m. by the police in Citrus Heights, and they just pulled me out. They're like, you're on parole probation, and I have to tell them, you know, yeah, I'm on parole. So they're like, all right, we're about to search you, the car, everything. Yeah. I told Samantha too, I'm like, be ready in case we get pulled over. They're gonna search us regardless. So yeah. They pull us out, search me. They're like, what's the code to your phone? I'm like, what? They're like, it's part of your parole terms. Give us the code. So I give it to them. They're going through my phone, just like tripping, like 2 a.m. I'm like, man, can we get home? I'm right here with my girl and stuff. So, yeah. But they definitely profile me. Like, you can ask like anyone with my girl, especially because I ride with her all the time. In the summer, sometimes I'll throw a hoodie on if I want the windows down, or like I have tents, so the police don't pull me over or mess with me. Yeah. I used to have long hair, and I would get put over a lot from my long hair and stuff, just like they would gang profile or just tattoos, just in general. They profile for sure.
That's crazy. So when you change your mindset from a life of crime into Jesus, what other kind of process did you go through for that?
I went through a lot, because in prison, in jail, I was really trying to live my life for God in jail and prison hecka hard. Like, yeah, in jail, I started doing prayer circles, praying for my homies. I'm still like involved with all the like little stuff going on in jail, but I'm trying to like serve God, do sermons. I was doing like 5 minutes of fire. It's like where you give a little message to whoever wants to come to the table. I had like groups of 20, 25 guys come in, and when I went to prison, I was still trying to do it, but it's so more free. There's drugs, there's alcohol, cell phones. So, yeah. And I had so much time left, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to have fun and make my time go. So I started drinking in prison, smoking weed and wax, getting more tattoos. I bought a cell phone. So in prison, I started doing that, but then I'm fighting with myself because I'm like, I'm trying to do better, rehabilitate myself. That's what you're supposed to do. Yeah. And then I finally like starting just smoking only weed and stopped making Pruno and stuff, I started joining classes like AA, NA. I joined mental health. I would have never ever in my life seen a mental health doctor if I didn't do it in prison.
Yeah.
So I ended up getting moved up to a higher level yard, to a level 4 yard, and then I dropped to a level 3. And in that time, I was in cell living and just like really reflecting and stuff. And I finally put in a kite to go see a mental health doctor and just talk to someone about everything I've ever been through about my life, or anything I felt like talking about or opening about. And I don't know, I just opened up to God more in prison, to people, learn to love people more, because there's so much hate in there. It's like so much violence. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I've been in a few fights in there and riots, but that's only because you have to do what you have to do to survive in there, or not, like, you could get got. So
yeah, a cousin of mine just got out of, well, her husband just got out of prison not too long ago, and same thing. He's like, look, I didn't even want to get involved in all that, but if I don't, it's like you're gonna be a victim.
Yep, for sure.
Either you join and you just do what you got to do to protect yourself, even if it means hurting others,
right?
Or if you don't join in, it's like they'll even start targeting you inside.
Exactly. But it's like, it was easy for me because on the streets I was already involved with all these gang members, and like I hung out with a lot of like, I could say, black people, you know.
Yeah.
And so in jail and prison, I'm riding with the black car, I'm hanging out with the blacks, and the white boys didn't like it, but I know a lot of people. So in prison and stuff, I was good. And it's just like your brother said, or whoever you just said, you got to do what you got to do.
Did you ever, because you said you were drinking and smoking and doing drugs and stuff, and you try to cut down to weed in prison, but you were still teaching, were you still teaching Bible and stuff?
Nah, I wouldn't do that, just because I feel like if I'm setting this example of getting high and people are seeing it, how am I going to sit here and do this? But I do, like, to people I'm close to, I've had a few friends like that I know from the streets. Like, one of my friends that's back in jail, I'll preach to them all day. Like, even if I'm high, I'll sit there and be like, you know, tell them about God, how we have an eternity in heaven, you know, certain scriptures when they're going through things. I've had like 4 cellies give their lives to God that didn't believe in God at all. Like, one was a northerner, one was a south sider, so it's like you never know who you're gonna meet. One was a white boy, so it's like these people didn't believe, they didn't want to go to church, and they gave their lives to God because of what God did in me and used me, how He used me, you know.
Yeah. What are your concepts or your perception on weed?
On weed? Ooh. That's a hard one.
I spoke about this on my previous podcast. Like, my wife, she uses edibles as a medication for anxiety and stuff like that.
Right.
Personally, because we've tried what the doctors prescribe. You know, we've tried what the doctors give, and all of it is way worse. Like,
right, for sure. It's addicting.
If it's not addicting, if it's not bad for your mental health and all that, it's bad for your kidneys. It's bad for all kinds of other stuff. And weed is natural. Now, the one thing that I don't, I mean, we have kids at home. Like, she can't be smoking.
Right.
And not only that, but I feel like that's the one thing that'll, because it's passing through your nose, it's passing through your mouth, it's closer to your brain. And so some of the smoke will travel up, and that's where the scientists get the math of, like, smoking weed kills brain cells.
I see.
And so that's where I was like, okay, well, let's just not smoke it. There's so many other ways you can do it.
I see.
This is I ask you because obviously you have experience with it. You've done it before. Right. I don't know where you stand on it now, and I just kind of want to see and pick your brain on that.
Well, I don't mind being open about myself. I'm trying to actually be more open with people that I know, and actually maybe help someone else, like you said on the podcast, that could be watching. Weed is I smoke weed. I smoke weed every day almost, but I'm trying not to, just because I don't believe like weed is really like super bad. Like, you're a sinner, you're gonna, like, you know, you're gonna burn forever because of it. But my opinion on it, just from the Bible and stuff, the Bible says you should be sober-minded and vigilant at all times.
Right.
Be ready for any type of attacks from the enemy. And I've noticed just since I've been out of prison, just from smoking weed, you know, I don't remember the Bible scriptures. I can't fight some spiritual attacks, and it's like sometimes I'll just be like stuck. But I do smoke, and I have a problem with it. I believe I have an addiction to weed, and some people say you can't be addicted to weed, but I've been smoking weed since I was 12 years old.
Well, from what I know of addiction, like I used to be addicted to cigarettes.
Right.
And the majority of the addiction had nothing to do with the nicotine.
Right.
It was just the addiction to holding it.
For real?
The addiction to feeling it go down my lungs, the addiction of the feelings I would get when the smoke would pass my nose, and all of these things are subcategories of addiction that played a bigger role than the nicotine itself.
Right.
I agree with the fact that weed is not addictive. But if you have a problem with it because you have an addiction towards it, you feel like you need it, and without it, like, your life is ruined. And there's a whole lot more to that addiction than the actual CBD in it, you know?
Yeah. With the addiction, it's not more like I think weed is an addictive drug.
Right.
I think I myself is addicted because, first of all, I have an addictive personality.
Yeah.
Second of all, I've been smoking it for so long. Like I told you, I'm 27. I'll be 28 this year. So I've been smoking it 10 plus years. I don't think weed is an addictive drug at all.
Right.
I think I have an addiction to weed myself just because, not that I depend on it, just because I love it so much. And it's just like a routine, like you said. Yeah. I'm used to it. When I'm going through stressful situations, or like if I feel really like anxiety, because I get bad anxiety to a point where I feel like I can't breathe sometimes, I'll smoke some weed or take a dab. But I really do want to stop. I want to be able to rely on God and myself. Yeah. Because in jail, I was able to, for like a certain amount of time before I got to prison, I was able to. I was sober minded. I was feeling great. But I don't see that. I don't think it's bad. I don't think that people smoke weed are bad. And I believe that God loves everyone with all his heart still, regardless of what you do or who you are. Right. Regardless if you smoke weed, cigarettes, pot pills, God loves you. And that's where people get the misconception of church. And churches, it's not a place for like I forgot what there's a quote, but it's a hospital for the poor. You know, it's not for like the wealthy and the good people where you get the perfect picture, like you said.
Sure.
The church is supposed to be a hospital for the poor. Jesus was with the dead people, the prostitutes. He was raising the dead, but he was with the prostitutes, the people in like the slums, the deaf, you know.
And the rich people did have a certain calling for it too, but it played a different role.
Right. Exactly.
And so the way I look at this is, I thank you, first of all, for being open and transparent. For sure. That's huge for me. And I wouldn't even go as far as to say cigarettes are a sin. You know, I don't think any of that is sinful per se. I think that, like you said, it's a personal conviction. Right. If you idolize it, if you put it before God, there's a problem.
Yep.
And that's where it's like, if you rely more on anything other than God, I get it.
Yep.
You know, I get it. But in the same way that there's people that have to take a Vicodin pill for the rest of their life because they got knee surgery.
Right.
Without it, they can't function.
You
can't tell that person rely on God.
Yeah, every story is different.
Right.
I believe personally myself, I'm not gonna say that you're wrong, but I believe that even if I was to get a knee thing where they're like, you have to take a Vicodin every day, your knee will never be right again. Yeah. I believe with all my heart that God can and will heal something like that to where you don't have to. But that's if you have the faith, belief, and like God has that in your plan to get that fixed, you know? So it just depends.
There are some people that are called to carry that pain.
Right.
And so without it, you won't understand. Without it, based on your characteristics or whoever you may be, I understand where you come from.
Right.
So I'm glad we went there. So you get out of prison. You're trying to live a holy life, I'm assuming.
Yeah, but when I first got out, I wasn't really living a holy life. I'll be honest with you. You know, when I got out, I started like really drinking a lot of liquor. I was drinking a lot. I was happy to have real alcohol and beer.
Yeah.
So I started getting drunk a lot. Boom, I'm smoking for sure. And then I tried to kick back on alcohol. First of all, I was doing dumb stuff on it, blacking out. It was causing something in my relationship is breaking the bond between me and my girl, so that too. And then I started trying to sip syrup instead because I like syrup, and that's like codeine with Sprite or, soda. It's like, I don't know. It's some people do it to be cool, but I liked it because it made me feel relaxed and high. And so I was doing that for a while when I first got out, and I'm like, I don't need to be doing this stuff.
So you were numbing something.
Yeah, still numbing something, but obviously I didn't heal fully from like my past.
And that's fine. I think it's important to understand that. Would you say that you're there now? Like, are you still in a healing process?
I believe I still am in a healing process, but I do believe I am. God has completely set me free from any type of drug addiction, any type of wants or cravings for because I used to have a bad craving for Xanax. I don't crave Xanax, cough syrup. I don't crave even liquor anymore. Like sometimes, like if it's a holiday, I'll be like, cool, I'll take a beer or two and have a buzz, but not get drunk, and maybe like on 4th of July or something, get a little cool buzz. But I don't know. Maybe by then I won't feel the same, but definitely in the mindset of just only weed and trying to stop that too and be fully
cool.
Personally
for me, I stopped my smoking cold turkey, and I ended up failing a lot because of that, because I was starving something inside, and when you starve it, it gets desperate, and instead of killing it, did you ever kill that part of your flesh as far as getting rid of those first addictions? Obviously you might have carried some different drugs and stuff.
You talking about the cough syrup and stuff?
Right.
That it's completely gone. I definitely wait, what's the whole question?
So you mentioned you had addictions, or you had maybe habits of desiring cough syrup or Xanax and stuff like that, but you're over that.
Yeah, for sure.
So what I'm asking is was it a cold turkey stop? You just from one day to another just decided to stop doing it, or did you gradually do less and less of it?
So yeah, it was a cold turkey stop with the syrup and the Xanax. I did take some Percocets. I had an addiction to opiates too, and I'm gonna be honest. I took this thing called Suboxone to get off of it, and I was sick. I was sick as a dog for 2 weeks because it's opiates, and my girl almost left me for it too. And it actually opened my eyes to a lot and helped me realize, what I have and don't have in life and what I could lose. Right. And she sat there with me I was sick, throwing up, sweating all over her bed, and we got past it. And that's really what changed my mindset too, going through that opiate phase. I've been off that for a year and a half, almost 2 years. Oh no, a year and a half, a year and 7 months. So I think it's actually almost been 2 years. I have to check. I don't have an exact date because I've never been the type to set a date, but I was sick as a dog in her bedroom, and ever since then I've been good off of it. I'm God, please heal me. I don't want to lose my relationship. I don't want to lose my life because there's fake opiates, there's fake pills everywhere now.
Right.
And I don't want to lose my eternity in heaven. So it really opened my eyes to a lot. It pushed me to go be a better man for myself first, because I never really cared about myself. Right. I didn't. Yeah. Till that happened.
So would you say, I see you getting emotional, I'm sure, because you think of your girl and what you put her through, and even what you put yourself through. How hard has it been getting over and forgiving yourself? Would you say you've done that yet, or would you say you're still in that process?
I think I'm in the process, I was just figuring it out 3 days ago, actually. That's crazy you say that, because I realized that I need to forgive myself for things.
Because I know God forgives.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's all kinds of stupid stuff that I've done. There's all kinds of stupid stuff I've seen other people do. And I know God forgives them. The hardest part is learning how to forgive yourself. And that comes with first learning how to self-love. And I like to ask about this process because some people might not know how to start.
Start self-love, you're saying?
Yeah. And I'm not saying that you may know.
Right.
You know, it's something you're probably still learning. But what got you started there?
Really learning to love myself. Just God. I feel like God really has like the most impact on me, like in my life. Like he pushes me more than I've ever been pushed. Like I'll be so down and depressed sometimes, and like I've used to have like suicidal thoughts and stuff, and he's like, you know, like taking that from me, like he's taking the depression from me. Sometimes I feel myself getting into like a funk or a depression, and I just like try and pray out to God and just be in my head, like just doing what I can. I don't know, I want to get in my Bible more. I know I should. Sometimes I try to wake up and read the Proverbs of the day, but
yeah.
Self-love is a good thing. It helps you. It's healthy for you, you know. Like I found myself wanting to go out more. Me and my girl, we go on walks and stuff. I bought a dirt bike so I could teach myself how to do a wheelie and stuff. And
Yeah.
I don't know, I want to do what God has in store for me. And like I feel like I really do genuinely love myself now. Like I would be devastated if anything ever happened to me, you know. And that I don't know if that sounds selfish, but I never really cared about myself like that. So just because I know it would hurt those around me, it would hurt my girl, it would hurt my family, you know. And I know God has something way bigger.
Yeah. And it would hurt you.
For sure.
Yeah. It does feel selfish. But I can honestly say that my wife is the one that kind of helped me through the self-love process. And something about these women, man. They'll look at you straight in your face and tell you to stop being stupid.
Yeah.
Stop being selfish. And care. Yeah. You know, and it's definitely been a journey, you know? And
for sure.
I think it's okay to just look back and say, man, I was so ridiculous.
Yeah, for sure. So so ridiculous.
And look back and smack myself in the head like, man, I still love you though.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You know what's crazy too is thinking back on it is I got out in August of 2020. I was really supposed to get out in July of 21, but because of COVID, I got a COVID kick and I got blessed. And so when I went through that little phase of figuring myself out, drinking and stuff, so I actually ended up getting sober by like April or May of 21 because that's when I got HVAC certified. By May 1st or something, I got hired at Valora. I started doing HVAC. Yeah, so they HVAC certified me. I did gutter installation. So May 1st of 21, I really started like getting back on like the person I am on my grind, showing like who I am as a man, just to myself and my wife, you know, and to God. And that's actually crazy because it's like almost 2 years now. And then in August, it'll be 3 years that I've been out. So I don't know, like, God has something big in store because me and my wife, we've been through a lot together, and I've been through a lot myself. I've struggled so much ever since I've been an adult, and God has blessed me left and right since I've, like, decided to give my life to Him, decide to, like, be the man that I'm supposed to for myself, for my wife.
I like to point out and notice that God will bless you regardless of where you are.
Yep, for sure.
I'm listening to your story and I'm noticing God used you even though you hadn't self-loved yet.
Yeah, a lot.
And God used you with addiction. So much so that other people got saved. God didn't care about the fact that you had whatever in your system. God didn't care about the fact that you still wanted to put more stuff in your system. And as a result of that, there's another person going to heaven who can say, man, if it wasn't for you,
Yeah, for sure.
If it wasn't
I get emotional with God, you know, like with the Holy Spirit and God, because I can feel His presence, and
sure,
I get real emotional with God,
and that's fine, man. A lot of it is part of the healing process, man. The part of the self-love, self-forgiveness, and knowing that what you did was wrong, but at the same time, God still loved you through it because He loved you. He didn't love what you were doing, but He loved you. Yeah. And He loved the fact that your thought process was still to try and not give up. Because regardless of the fact that you're in a jail cell and your freedom is taken away, you probably felt freer.
Man, you don't even know.
With your face in a book.
Man, I was in my cell fasting, bro. You should have seen it. Sac County is crazy. So, just like off topic a little bit, I'm in the cell. So I meet this Mexican dude. He's hecka cool. He's like a northerner and stuff. And he grabbed my phone time on the phone. And he's hecka, like, he's buffed, tatted up and stuff. I'm still like a scrawny white boy. I'm fighting my case to go to prison. Yeah. And I'm like, I go to him like, hey, homie, you took my phone time. Like, I need that fade. Like, I'm tripping. Like, I need that. And he's like going through hecka stuff. He's like wiping tears and like hecka angry. He's like, bro, just get away from me. Like, just don't. And I'm like, come on, like stand up and stuff. He's like, look, I'm going through a lot with my wife. Sorry about the phone call and whoop-de-whoop. I'm like, what? And I'm like, what the heck? That's crazy. I'm like, want me to pray for you? And he's like, yeah. And he let me pray for him. And he's like, the next day, he's all like, hey, bro, come here. He's like, I've never let no one pray for me. He's like, I grew up as a Catholic, but I don't believe in God. Yeah. And we end up telling the cop, let us be cellies. So we became cellies, and he gave his life to God. I had a Bible sent in, like one from Amazon, a nice gray study Bible, and I wrapped it up with a brown paper bag, and I gave it to him as a present on Christmas. Yeah. And one of my pastors was coming and visiting me every Saturday. When Antonio, my homie, he got saved, pastor would go see him on Sundays. Yeah. So he's seeing me Saturdays, my homie Sundays, and my homie gave his life to God. And you know, it's crazy. My homie, he still reads his Bible. He still prays. He said he drinks a little, but that's not bad. Like, you know, it could be way worse than where he's came from. Sure. And he even came to church on Easter and stuff. So it's just a blessing.
The part I find like very interesting and very like worthy of pointing out is the fact that you started the relationship with maybe trying to swing. Right.
And he for sure would have whooped me too. But I just felt like a punk.
Minutes later, you're like, can I pray for you?
I felt bad too, because I'm like, dang, he's going through a lot. And then I'm like, God is using this situation. Yeah. And I was just mad. He was like hurt. And I'm like, what the heck am I doing? Why am I tripping like this?
So now the next part is, obviously, you know now you can be used. There's no reason. If you could be used while you're not in the right mindset, right? How much more can you be used now? You know, and I'm not even sure if that's the end of your life, like, story.
Yeah, it's just starting. I feel like just
starting, right? So now taking a different lead, taking a different path. What do you feel like you're called to do?
I don't know. Being in and out of church, I tried to actually go to church one time when I was on the run from Sac County fighting a case. I ran to Reno and stayed with an aunt. Yeah. And I got involved with the church. I was helping with like high schoolers and the youth. So I feel really called to the youth and high schoolers and like even like people stuck in the streets, because I can relate to the ones that are like, you know, feeling lost, confused, feeling like they got to do this, that, impress this, that in person, or build a character or a name for themselves, build a, you know, anything, you know, go out and live that lifestyle. Like, you know, I could be witness to them. I also love music, you know, like you guys know. So maybe God will allow me to do something with my music. So I'm just praying on it. I can do like maybe some Christian music if that's what God wants, but I'm just, you know, trying to figure it out. I don't want a job. I don't want to work for someone, to be honest. Like, in the Bible it says, you know, you're supposed to work. You're not supposed to be lazy. Yeah. I love to work. I don't like to be lazy, but I don't like working for the next person when they're getting like $20,000 a job. I'm getting like $20 an hour. Yeah. When God can use me to have my own business for my family while I'm being used for Him, you know?
Yeah. So do you want to like work towards getting a license or anything like that?
Yeah, I actually have a business license, little form right there by the door that I'm going to fill out. I'm gonna try and start a business or LLC, get an LLC too, and I don't know with what. I had a few ideas, but I'm waiting on God right now, so I'm just being still and patient, you know. And I also eventually, you know, want to get a house with some land out here in Rio Linda or like
yeah,
you know, somewhere
that's good, man.
With some land, a farm or something.
That's good. We're at a position now where it's like the economy is dropping, and I feel like that's a good time. It's the perfect time to start. That's actually the first time it dropped was when COVID started, and then it picked back up later.
Yep. Super.
And it's dropped now again, which means it's the perfect time to start, and it's the perfect time to just get it done because everyone's going through it, and the only people getting richer are rich people.
Right.
So a business now or a company started in construction, like they already got the money. They're getting more of it, if anything.
Yeah, for sure.
Which means that you get to put your wallet in there and just start catching these dollars.
For sure.
As far as your calling in Jesus, what do you think you're called for? Like, do you feel like you're maybe called to preach? Do you feel like you're called to speak just to youth, like you said?
Nah, definitely not. I feel like I'm called to talk to people. I talk. I'm a people person. I could walk up to a random person and, you know, they'll like tell me their life story and stuff. So I feel like God has something in store for me to like spread his word by using my voice. Like, I don't know if it's through the music, through being a preacher, like you said, evangelist, who knows, but definitely using my voice to like reach everyone I can. Because, you know, in the Bible, it says in Ezekiel 33, like, you know, we're called, if we don't tell this person about God, we didn't warn them, you know, so now if they never knew about God and we didn't warn them about it, you know, their blood is going to be on our hands. So I'm going to try and reach everyone I can. Sometimes I'll walk up to some homeless people, give them some money, see if I could pray for them.
Yeah, that's good. Do you have like a strategy at all, or is it something that you...
What, to like reach people?
Right.
Nah, like, I don't know. Right now in my life, it's just whatever God puts on my heart. Like, if he puts it on my heart to reach out to a friend or a family, I do. I pray for everyone. If there's someone I see on the streets, even like they don't even look too bad, homeless, but they look like they're bad, I'll go see, like, you know, you need some prayer, like, you want me to pray for you? I'll just walk up and say, like, you know, do you believe in God? Are you a believer? Something like that.
Yeah. Some that I've been kind of thinking about with my wife, and for the people listening right now, we might be going to the streets like downtown, and then just asking people and talking to people like what their view is on God, to hopefully get some insight on what our city believes. But I feel like the more we can learn about where people are in their mindset, I'm talking about like the majority, and then we might just start praying too for people and doing all that. And I don't know if, I know I'm doing this on camera, but if you'd be down, let's go. Yeah,
I'm not tripping. I'll go. I'm down. Yeah, I love reaching out to people.
That's good, man. I had some questions that I wrote down, and I wanna ask them. I know you talked about like your relationship with your mom wasn't the greatest growing up.
Me and my mom actually,
how is it now?
We were really close actually growing up. I just didn't like that.
Well, when you left, right?
Oh yeah, when I left, we were doing real bad, but we're good right now. We're cool. It's not the best. It could be better. You feel me? Sheesh, it could be a lot better, but we had a little fallout a little while ago, but I'm just praying to God and letting God do his thing, but it's good. It's not like horrible, you know. I just went over and see my mom and dad the other day, like 2 days ago. So I still see him, but you know, it's like we're not like best friends and stuff.
Right. Where's your relationship with your dad?
I say me and my dad are probably closer than we've ever been, because when I finally decided to let go of the resentment and the built hate that I was taught. Because I was taught hate, you know, hate breeds hate. So I was taught to hate him, and I was taught bad things that weren't true too. And when I was like 21 or 22, I like really forgave him and, you know, let him know I love him and stuff. And we got closer over the years, and I feel like we're pretty close. Last time, so my dad did a couple prison terms too.
Yeah.
He just did his 4th one for like some petty gun charge, but before he went, me and him got super close because I was doing 7 months on house arrest.
Yeah.
He was at the house, and we were hanging out like every night, you know, just like drinking and stuff. But yeah, we're pretty close. You know, I trust him, and I think he trusts me. So
that's good.
He's the first person I told about my baby.
Oh yeah. How did he take it? Was he excited?
He was like, he's like frozen. He was like stuck.
What about your siblings?
My siblings. I have 5 younger siblings.
You're the oldest?
I'm the oldest. I'll be 28 this year. The one that's a year younger than me will be 27 in October. And then I got a 25-year-old brother. One of them's about to be 21 on Friday. And there's a 20, what year is it? There's a 23-year-old and a 15-year-old. Timmy, wow. Jimmy, Paul, Christian, Jeremiah.
Yeah. Wow. They're all biblical names.
Yeah.
That's good. And so your relationship with them is cool?
Yeah, we're cool. Yeah, we're pretty cool. I'm not like super close to any of my brothers, honestly. Yeah. I used to be close to the 5th kid, Christian, but we're not too close. I'm not too close to none of my brothers, honestly.
Yeah. I know that family could take a turn and stuff like that, as far as like especially when your life is as extravagant as the way your life kind of turned out. Are any of them? Do you see like any of them trying to take the path you took?
I do see the youngest trying to kind of live that life. He's trying to I feel like he has a mix of trying to live the lifestyle me and all my brothers live, because, you know, he's 15, he's living at home, we're all grown now and out the house, and he hears all our stories, you know, everything we've been through. So I feel like it definitely it takes a toll on him, because he wants to be like us, but he doesn't have to, you know. And I don't know, I don't think any of them really else try to take that turn.
That's good.
The one that was a year younger did, but he changed when he had a baby.
So how many of you guys are married or have kids and stuff like that?
So me and Timmy are married, and Christian is engaged.
Okay.
So the rest are all single, and then my brother Timmy has 3 kids.
Oh wow, so he got a head start.
Yep. Well, they had their first baby. I think my nephew is 7 or 6, I want to say, but you know, it's crazy. They met each other through a one-night stand on a Halloween party or something, and boom, hey, goes the marriage.
That's how that works sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah, my wife and I, when we met, I didn't have the intention of getting married at the time. I wasn't in that mindset.
Right.
And so we met. We wanted to see what was up, you know. And I think it was I never, to this day, believed in love at first sight or any of that. And then we just got to talking, and I was like, yo, I think we moved in pretty quickly. I won't put all our business out there like that, but we moved pretty quickly. 2 of the kids she had with her late husband, and he passed away, and so, you know, she was single for some time, and obviously grieving and then healing and all that. So when I came into the picture, I didn't think it was going to be anything serious until we really started talking. We're like, oh snap. It just kind of got us both off guard, you know?
That's crazy.
She was a little bit more ahead of the game than me, though. As far as knowing what to expect, as far with God telling her I'm sending somebody.
Right.
And I'm over here just thinking who's this girl? I hope she's fine.
That's crazy, because with me, I've been hurt a lot by girls. All my exes hurt me super bad. I only have 3 exes, because I've had long relationships.
Yeah.
But here, a little story, it's gonna be quick. But the girl I was with before Samantha was before I went to jail and stuff, and we were together for 2 years. She's 6 years older than me. She had 2 kids and stuff, and she didn't have her license, her own spot, or nothing. We got together. I got us a duplex. I helped her get her license, 2 cars, and I ended up going to jail to finish up some time, and she told me she was pregnant and stuff, and she got an abortion. She told me it was a miscarriage. I found out it was an abortion.
Wow.
And then she was cheating on me too, and I ended up staying with her. And then I ended up going to jail again for this case that I went to prison for, and she was pregnant again. And it was supposedly my baby, and then she told me she had a miscarriage. And her friend started writing me when I was in jail and told me, your ex didn't have miscarriages. She had 2 abortions. She's been cheating on you the whole time. Heck of stuff. I'm like, dang.
Wow.
So I'm in jail, like broken, and I called her, and I'm like, you could just be honest with me. I'm about to go to prison and stuff. Like, I'm not gonna be with you no more. After everything I found out. So, yeah. And she told me it was all true, and I was like, sheesh. So that helped me because going through my time in jail, prison, I was at rock bottom. I didn't have nothing. I didn't have anyone. I didn't have a girl. My mom was there through the time, but I didn't have nothing. I was hecka broken and hurt, just going through it.
More, just adding on more to the pile of why I should drink, why I should smoke, why I should numb all this that I'm going through. Which is why I asked about your mindset, because I want to know, mainly for people to be able to relate. And I like relating. I like hearing that. Okay, I wasn't that off.
Right.
I wasn't that wrong for thinking the way. A lot of people think they just immediately go and judge like, no, you shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
You don't know where my mind was.
Right. At that time,
Right. I did a lot of stupid stuff. I got really hurt a lot too. I paid for a wedding that never happened. That we got into debt and everything.
That'll break you.
Right. And whether or not it was as serious as people thought it was serious to me.
Right.
And I hooked up with a lot of people because of it. And then I started, the lack of respect in myself.
Right.
Is what started me on this path of like, well, I don't care no more.
See, and
that mindset is what brought me through, like, my story and what I like to share with people right off the bat is like, I went through a phase of lung cancer.
Oh.
Because I kept on praying that I didn't want to live. I kept on praying and saying all the stuff that I thought I wanted, which was to not live. So when God gave me cancer, and I say God because it doesn't make sense why a young man that was otherwise healthy would get lung cancer after smoking for a few years,
right,
compared to people that smoke for 40, 50, 60 years. And then later on down the road, maybe they get cancer.
Right.
So I know for a fact it was God, because when I prayed and I was like, what do I do? Like, why would you do this to me? I was so confused. He was like, my bad. I thought you wanted to die. And
you're like, man.
And the thought process was, I was hurt because the girls hurt me, and I don't blame them anymore.
Right.
Like, I was hurt because of the expectations I created.
Exactly.
Not because of the expectations they didn't meet. Of course they didn't meet them. They didn't have the same expectations I did. They were out for fun. They were out for, let's just see where this goes. They just money, whatever
anything.
It was.
Yeah.
And they had their own mindsets and expectations, and we never talked about it. I was young and stupid. Like, I was just thinking, oh, sex. That's all I wanted. Like, of course you're going to get hurt.
Right.
You put all your emotions on this one person, and I idolized them for some time, and I put them above what God wanted to do with my life.
Yeah.
So, of course, I got hurt.
Yeah.
And then I started wanting to take my life. So God was just being respectful.
Yeah.
I thought you wanted this. And so I like to hear more perspective on like what the pain did and what you did because of it.
I feel like since I was locked up, there really wasn't much I could do. I was really angry and just broken. I felt like confused, like why? I just kept saying like, why would you do, like, to myself though, like, why would she do this to me? Like, I gave her everything. Like, I treated her right too. Like, I didn't call her names and stuff. I was like real respectful, but I don't know. Since I was locked up, I can't just go be with girls and stuff and sleep around. But I did have like an anger and resentment in my heart towards like women. And then what's crazy is I used to pray a lot to God in prison, like, oh, will you give me a loyal woman one day? Please, God, give me a loyal woman, a woman that'll love me for me, that won't ever hurt me.
Yeah.
And when I got out, I wasn't expecting to get into a relationship, and me and Samantha started hanging out right away and stuff, and I ended up getting with her, and I'm like, dang, it like changed the way my heart and mind felt towards the woman, because I'm like,
they even make you see things differently,
right? I'm like, I see women in a whole different way. I'm like, because there's still women that are loyal and that will love you and that are tender hearted, you know, that aren't trying to live like how the world wants them to, or how society paints how a woman should be, you know. So
I had issues with trust in women.
Right.
Like, I thought that all women were just out to take.
Yeah, me too. You.
That's what that experience taught me.
I did use them, like, so since I had a phone, I had social media, so I'm like, all right, I'm gonna use every girl I can to get money packages. So even her, like, when I was like a year in, I'm like, I'm gonna tap back in. She got a boyfriend now, and I had her send me money and stuff. So I'm like, all right, whatever. I'm just gonna get money out of them. But that was wrong too. So, but I was hurt. You know, we do dumb decisions when we're hurt and going through things. But I feel like your hurt and your pain will either make you or break you. You know, because you could be like, let that really take your life. You could let it really turn you into a drug addict, or go live for the streets, or want to kill yourself, you know? Or you can let it make you into a better, stronger person. Let it give you like wisdom and discernment for new things and things that you've experienced, been through, and now that you could share with other people. So I feel like some people say like they don't like struggling, they don't like going through hard times, but I feel like hard times and struggles is what makes you stronger and makes you the person that you are. It builds your character.
It puts everything in perspective, which is why when people say, you know, first of all, you can't have good without evil.
Right.
And so what the devil meant to kill you, God will use for you.
Yep, exactly.
And so in this case, you have a story, man. You have a story of a life of bad decisions.
For sure. And it's all my choices too. I don't blame anyone for what I've been through, for the life I live. I take full responsibility. No one, it's not my dad, my mom's fault. It's not God's fault. It's all me.
Exactly. And so what I'm getting to is, we were talking about forgiveness on our last pod. Just my wife and I were talking, and forgiveness is the first step into healing, but it's not healing. When you forgive yourself, you disinvolve your emotions. And so emotions overall are chemicals that are sent to your brain, and your brain indicates good or bad. Mm-hmm. And so when you live a life of depression, when you live a life of fear, when you live a life of anger,
anxious,
anxiety, you're living a life where your body controls you and you don't control your body.
Yep.
Because emotions are part of your body. Mm-hmm. Which is why when we go to heaven, we're going to be filled with joy. We're not going to be filled with pain. We're not going to be like, we'll still have our memory, but people are like, if I have my memory, won't I be like continually still be angry or mad? No, because that's part of your body.
Yep.
That's not part of your spirit. That's not part of your soul. Which is why God will meet you and meet with your spirit, meet with your soul. And he'll come at you internally. And the enemy will come at you externally.
Yeah.
When you let your body manage everything you do, you're idolizing you. And it's funny because with all that self-disrespect and self-hate, you don't think that you're idolizing you.
Right.
But you're doing everything you want. And
it's all about you.
Exactly.
Yep.
And that's the first lie that the enemy tells. The first lie is, first of all, when the serpent came to Eve, he never told Eve to worship me. Do what I say because I'm better than God. No. He said, what do you want to do?
Right. Do what you want.
Do what you want.
It's your choice.
Because the minute you give authority to yourself instead of giving the authority to God over your life, giving yourself lordship instead of giving God lordship, you no longer have God on the pedestal that belongs to him, so on that throne.
You're going to crash.
Exactly. So I love this talk, man.
Me too.
I learned a lot about you. I feel like this is a good spot to to kind of finish things up, is there anything you want to endorse? Or
no, not really. I mean, if you want to follow me on Instagram, my Instagram is Mikloh, WOEMIKLO. I will be putting out some more music, but I don't know what kind. Hopefully, we'll see what God has in store for me.
Yeah,
I definitely want to start dropping music videos though too. So, got to see what's gonna happen. And yeah, just appreciate you for this opportunity. You know, I'm thankful that you came too, and I got an opportunity to
Dude,
talk to you.
I'm thankful that you opened your home.
Yeah, it's all good.
You have us here. We're learning about you, and thanks, man. So everybody, follow, like, go listen to this guy's stuff, and
go subscribe to Underexposed podcast.
Sounds good. We'll see you guys later. Thank you guys for listening. Peace out.
Later.